G'day everybody, it's the 3rd of June and it's been a couple of weeks. I had a few technical problems last week, so I apologise about that. But what's happened in New Zealand? Lots has happened. Obviously a new leader for the opposition. Simon Ridge's gone, so we've got Todd Muller in. Pretty unknown guy, but anyway, we had to do something, so just see what happens with him. He seems quite conservative. I think he's got a bit of a religious background, so he'll be fairly conservative, which is a good thing. But anyway, let's see what happens there. What else has been happening? Let's see what else has happened there. What has been happening this week, especially overseas? USA is imploding, unfortunately. There was some shocking video, of course, of poor Mr. Floyd, George Floyd, who was basically killed by a freaking cop. Unreal. So, the place is imploding, and it's happened before, of course, back especially with the LA riots and that. People sort of, I don't know, they use it as an excuse to tear things up. There's legitimate protest, and rightly so. But then people undermine that the whole process by just basically using it as an excuse to tear things up and steal stuff, destroy things. And of course, we're looking at getting on a week of that now, and it's showing no signs of stopping. So I think poor Mr. Floyd would not be pleased to see what's been happening in his name. Protest, absolutely, and it definitely needs to be a change. But just thuggery, thievery, beating people up is just an excuse, guy. And I see, unfortunately, today a retired police captain, a black retired police captain, was checking security in his friend's store and was shot by one of these freaking crims. So a lot of it seems to be organised as well. Antifa, of course, they'll be right in the thick of that, stirring things up. I know there's been stories of pallets load of bricks dropped all over the place in several cities. So it seems to be partly fairly organised, which really does undermine the whole process of protest. And peaceful protest is what gets the right sort of attention. So it's very, very sad to see. And I see there are in some states and cities, people are getting organised. I sent some video on Facebook this morning of Coeur d'Alene in Idaho. All the main streets in downtown, everybody's carrying. And it's good to see, because these thieves and vandals, it's only because they're in big groups. So, on their own, they're total cowards. And so that it's easy to keep them away with the threat of, we can do stuff too. And that's what's happened. And places like say, Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. I know there was a sheriff in some county in Florida, got on TV in front of everybody, told everybody in this county, all the homeowners, to load their guns. And he said that anybody come through your door looking to do harm or to burn you down or something, to blow them back out the door. So, and rightly so, I think. Anyway, so let's not get the two things confused, There's legitimate protest of a freaking terrible thing that happened, and I can understand people being sick of it, of course. And but then just using an excuse to steal and loot. I think they're getting to the stage now where they need to replace rubber with lead. I go, look at me, I'm a Pākehā boy in little old New Zealand, and we're certainly not perfect here either. And I spent a lot of time in the States, and they do have a problem over there, same as we do here. And it comes back to human nature. The fact is, no matter how much social engineering you do to tell you it's wrong, you shouldn't do it, we notice differences. We notice differences in people. Okay, the police do it. The government does do it. They don't tell us they do it, but they do it. Profiling, okay? It happens everywhere. We do it subconsciously without even thinking about it. And not just about colour of somebody's skin or their religion. We see somebody walking down the street, oh, they dress sharp. Okay, there's a wealthy person, you know. We somebody, that's in dirty clothes. Think, oh, okay, he's a labourer or he's doing this, that. We profile all the time. So you're never ever going to get rid of the fact that people notice if somebody's different. And so what happens? We see it in New Zealand. That was talked about yesterday about what racism people had experienced in New Zealand, and a lot of Māori were calling in and saying they noticed they go into a shop, people sort of keeping an eye on them. And so why does this happen? Why is it that people act differently around different races of people? If you're talking about profiling and noticing the differences, and there's numbers out there, and so people have reason. I guess people have their own reasons for acting like that, and perhaps it's because they've been conditioned by things they've heard and seen, and maybe the statistics tell a story, and so people are nervous or whatever. It's not an easy thing just to say, oh, well, just don't be like that. It's a sad, I guess a bit of a sad indictment in general on society, but people do know there's differences, and for better or for worse. So anyway, very sad what's happening in America, and it's incredible. If you read the mainstream media, their president, Donny Boy, is he's according to the mainstream press, he's just being a cold-hearted buffoon. But if you dig a little deeper and look around and get the real story, you'll see that everything's not as it seems. It's pretty normal. Don't rely too much on mainstream media. You got to remember the mainstream media, controlled by the left. They hate Donald Trump. They'll never portray him in a good light. And I see even on our own news hub today on the website, one of the headlines was something about Donald Trump, wants to use heavy violence against George Floyd protesters. That was the headline. Well, there you go. Does he want to use it against the George Floyd protesters, or does he want to use heavy violence against this freaking rabble that are looting and beating people up, killing people? That's a big difference as far as I'm concerned between a George Floyd protester, a legitimate one, and people that are just out there causing mayhem because they hate the system or they just want to rob and steal. Any excuse. So just have a think about that. When you see those headlines, you gotta just don't have faith in the 6 o'clock news. You're gonna have to dig around yourself and find out what's really going on. Remember, 6 o'clock, they're pushing the narrative that they want you to believe, and unfortunately, most people follow it. Anyway, while we're talking about America, let's get on to Todd Muller's MAGA hat. Todd Muller had a MAGA hat in his office, and a Green MP, and I apologise if I get a name wrong, Golrids Gagaram, doesn't like the fact that he's got a MAGA hat, and she's just tired of discussing and arguing about why he even has it. In other words, she wants it gone. Well, I'm sorry. Just because you create a narrative about something doesn't mean it's true. And let's have a look at the MAGA hat. Now, I was in the States in 2016, lead up to election, and so I seen that whole campaign. And now MAGA, if you don't know, stands for Make America Great Again. Okay, and his campaign, that was a campaign slogan. What it meant was basically what he proposed. He wanted to drain the swamp, and what that meant was clearing out all the dead wood and the corruption out of Washington. Secure the borders, including obviously the southern border, which had been porous for probably forever. Now, every single president in the 20th century that ever got in always talked that was one of their priorities, securing the southern border, including Obama and Bill Clinton. And you can find them online. There's heaps of videos. It's well documented. They all wanted to get that southern border secured. This guy's the only one that's got the balls to go and get it done, or at least try to get it done. I don't know a country in the world where you can cross an international border without a passport. There'd be the odd protectorate or somewhere like in Europe, Liechtenstein, place like that, maybe Gibraltar. But legitimately, you go from one country to another with a passport. It's not a place in the world. You can be in the back of Africa. If you sneak across a border and get caught, you'll get thrown in jail. So I don't understand what the big fuss is about with America. Should be the same deal, surely. Anyway, so it all got twisted around, and of course they're calling it hate and what else? What it signifies, racism and hate and all this sort of stuff. And that's the narrative they're trying to push and twist it around. I mean, he wants to secure the borders. He wants to drain the swamp, and he wants to bring jobs back to America. That's what the MAGA hat was all about, make America great again. Now, these guys are harping on and on and on and on, but no matter how much they go on about it, you're not going to change what it meant. So, you may think that it's offensive, and just remember, you can't give offense. You can only take offense there, Ms. Garum. Okay? You can only take offense. Oh, Todd didn't give it to you. You chose to be offended by his MAGA hat and what you say it stands for. We know what it stands for. It does not stand for that at all. Anyway, moving on to something else. Good piece, actually, in line with that. Good piece by Ryan Bridge. He wrote a nice little piece, and I'll put a link down below. It'll be down there somewhere. About obviously he's gay and all that, but it's all about how people are getting lost and carried away in this whole offensive thing, and freedom of speech and whose rights are offended and all this stuff. It's quite a good little piece, not very long, but it's a very good piece. And actually, like Ryan Bridge, I think he sits firmly in the middle, calls a spade, and asks the hard questions. Doesn't let them get away with it and not answering it either. It's a bit like a dog with a bone. He won't let them off the hook until they've answered the question. So he's very good with interviews, old Ryan Bridge. I'd love to see him more on TV. In fact, if he was on TV, I'd probably actually turn it on and watch it instead of spending my life on YouTube. Okay, we've cracked 5 million people in New Zealand. It happened about 10 days ago, they think, pretty much. So our population is 5 million. So 5 million people spread out over a country the size of England. Okay, the bottom of the world. That's a bit of a milestone. But of course, 5 million people, that's a lot of infrastructure. And of course, now they're saying our infrastructure's been neglected for too long, and we've got a lot of work to do. Just basic stuff, water, sewage, and power. I'd love to see. I know what'll happen with the power. All of a sudden, one day we'll get an expert come on TV and tell us how we're in trouble, we're running out of power, and if we don't, we've got power shortages coming, and then it's like, well, okay, how do we make more power? Oh, well, we can't build a dam. The Greens won't let us build a dam, so we'll go and do solar. Well, okay. Okay, let's go and open another mine in Australia so we can get all the minerals to build our batteries to store our power. Either that or actually just run your fridge during the day when the sun's out. So infrastructure, something to consider in New Zealand. Same with the roading. Why does it take us so long to build a road in New Zealand? Like I say, I spent a lot of time in the States, and you go down the States, especially on those big interstates and the big highways, they're running 3 crews a day, 24/7 till it's done. Boom. And I remember they're tacking any, the big Takanini overbridge, South Auckland there. How many years was that project to do that little piece? It took years. I don't understand it. And you'll see it around Christchurch, the motorway that runs past the airport. Almost finished now, almost connected up to Rolleston. All that for one more lane each way. How long did that take? Years. By the time they finish it, they'll have to put another. It'll have to start at the other end again and put another lane on. You know, these are the sort of, if they're going to spend money, this is the things they should be spending money on. And this government got at the moment definitely know how to spend money. Money like water. They just announced the other day they're going to do apprenticeships are going to be free. Great, fantastic. Well, yeah, fantastic for the young fellas and the works. Work's probably going to be there. I don't know. I hope so. I hope the work's there. Should be. I don't know. We're short of tradesmen, but it's like university. We'll make the first year free. And what happened? All the normal students that were going anyway were complaining that all these new students were turning up who didn't really want to be there because they just went because they didn't know what else to do, and were disrupting the classes, and they dropped out after the first year anyway. That was a big disaster. I'm sure they'll keep that. Oh, no more free stuff though. More free this, free that. Well, yeah, free. We know where it's coming from. It's not coming from thin air. They're not going out and plucking $100 bills off the money tree out the back. So it's going to come from us, of course, taxpayer, and of course with all these starter funds and all that they're doing, all these get everything going again and throwing money around left, right, and centre, which they're doing. I haven't heard them once mention how it's going to be all paid for. And the numbers are staggering, eye-watering, but no plan about how to pay it all back. I guess that's not their department anyway. I know that was the radio, Matthew Hooton called Labor 17 empty chairs, and the Ardern was incompetent. Well, yeah, okay, I'm not even going to go there. Well, I am going to go there, but not about Dern. Everybody loves her, you know. It's all hugs and warm fuzzies. 17 empty chairs in her team, and that was Nikki Kay. Talking about on the 27th, I think it was, of May, talking about her Achilles heel is 17 empty chairs, which is true. I mean, you look at the people. Who's the minister? And I did this the other day, and I go for it again. Who's the minister of Labour Employment? But you don't know. Willie Jackson. Willie Jackson, the activist radio announcer. I don't know what the hell he knows about employment and like that. He spends all of his time going on TV and telling everybody how well they're doing. He's Cindy's little Trump mouthpiece. Anyway, yeah, these guys are the hollow men. Old Nikki Hager should be looking at these ones. This like as everybody says, there's like 2 or 3 MPs doing all the heavy lifting, and the others are there to make up the numbers. Well, make up the quota. So anyway, as long as we feel good, that's the main thing. Don't worry about merit. Todd Muller said that the National Party will always make their caucus up based on merit, which is good to see. We've gone from basically a Maori leader and deputy, and now way further down the chain, and no Maori on the front bench. Now that's just happens to be the way it is now. I mean, who's to say somebody comes along later on that does a good job and gets promoted up there and is Maori? I can't understand why you'd want to take a position based on we need you to make up the numbers. I just can't understand that. When you want to be in a position knowing that you earn that position because you're the best person for that job, rather than being a token or something like that. That's, to me, it'd be insulting. But anyway, that would be if people thought like that, there'd be nobody in the there'd be nobody in the Labour cabinet. Okay, what else we got? Oh yeah, well another poll's come out, and again looking pretty grim. Labour can govern alone based on this latest poll, if you believe the polls. The only good news would be that Winston finally be out of there. Greens get back in. Well, you know, it is what it is. Imagine if we have a referendum and legalise marijuana, though. The numbers will swell for the next election. We'll be broke, but I guess people won't care. Guess that's about it for this week. Yep, I'm sort of quite annoyed about the all the protests in New Zealand about poor old George Floyd in America. But I mean, I'm not annoyed at protesting, but I was a bit disappointed. I know that when some poor child's beaten to death in New Zealand, there's a bit of a vigil around his neighbourhood, and that's about it. Now, we've got an appalling record, and this freaking breaks my heart every time I hear it and see it. I mean, I'm getting sick of it, I tell you that. Our own beautiful little children getting killed by people that should be loving and caring for them. Now that really gets my freaking goat. So let's do something about that. Anyway, have a good week. Be good to each other. Catch you next week. Ka kite no.